Hi people, Murino Ravenberg here. The subject that I'll be discussing in this video, as the header suggests and or states, is the concept of having children, the concept of childbirth, and the concept of reproducing. Not from an occult perspective, this is just a neutral video. And I'll just start by saying that something that bothers me immensely even, but only from a neutral point of view. A neutral perspective is when people breed like parasites. I've used the phrase vermin and parasites often. Okay, that's the way I refer to a lot of quote unquote people, but yeah, they're not people if you take a good look at them and their way of life and their existence overall. You can't consider them human beings. And for those of you that were unaware of it, the message that I want to put out there simply is to, if you have child wishes, just see to it that it's based on logic and rational thinking or rational thought, as in you've asked yourself the basic questions, as in, are you willing to do it? Are you mentally, physically, and socially capable of having a child or bearing a child? Do the benefits outweigh the drawbacks for you? Have you thought about everything, from baby proofing your house and breastfeeding or giving the baby formula or bottle, all the way up until adulthood, when the child leaves the elderly house and is capable of standing on his or her own two legs? You need to think about all of that, because there's so much that you're going to sacrifice. We're talking about at least sacrificing at least 25 years of your life, a ridiculous amount of money that's going to have to be spent on things like diapers, clothing, general care, educational expenses. We're talking about taking care of an entire human being here and covering expenses. So you need to see too that you're capable, that you and your partner, provided that you're not a single parent or you don't intend on being a single parent, you and your partner are capable of carrying the load that is that extra human being. But this is just logic, common sense to any well-developed person, to any person that has a brain. But yeah, unfortunately, the majority of people in the world, and the majority of mankind is, I don't know what phrase to use. I don't have to say anything. All you have to do is, for example, look at the third world to see that people literally breed like parasites, or what are supposed to be people. These people aren't even remotely close to being fair parents or fit parents, and yet they breed like parasites. They make minimum wage, they don't have a decent roof over their heads, they rent some crummy apartment, or they stay in some hollowed out garage, and so on and so forth. And they have nothing, no level of education, no standard whatsoever. And yet they have not one or two, no, they have 5 or 6 children. I mean, if that's not the definition of a parasite, then I don't know what is. I don't want to be mean, but I don't care even if someone thinks I'm mean. Most people know that I don't want children. I don't want to get married, and I don't want children in general. The only exception to that rule that I intend on making is if I come across a woman that just blows my mind inside out. A woman that just makes my mind implode in a good way, to the point where she convinces me that it's worth, that family life is worth it with her. But it's highly, highly unlikely that that's going to happen. So I have a separate video on that you can check out at the end screen if you'd like, as well as the vermin mentality of third world folk. It's also a video I did last year. But bottom line is that I am very adamant, and I feel very strongly about this, and I'm very adamant on this subject. And you might wonder, you're right and everything. Yeah, okay, you're right. But why do you think that that's the case, Marino? Why do you think that people have so many children, or people have children despite the fact that it defies logic? The reason, plain and simply, is that, we're all human beings, and biologically speaking, we're mammals, and like all mammals, we have or like all beings, not spiritual beings, but physical, material beings, there is a certain need for most material beings. It's the same way with animals, the need to reproduce. But that's just it. It's a biological impulse. It's not based on thought or rationale or anything. That's why if you ask the majority of women, doesn't matter, regardless of their background, their regardless of what social class they belong to or wherever in the world they come from. If you seriously ask them questions of an interrogative nature, or you ask them survey-based questions, really deeply detailed questions about, their children, do they have children, assuming that they do, why did they want children, as in, ma'am, I see that you have 2 beautiful children here, first off, congratulations, a son and a daughter, but if you don't mind me asking in detail, why did you want children, what prompted you to have these children? And they're going to answer generically and truthfully until you really get down to the nitty-gritty, until you get down to the deepest fact of the matter, as in, but you haven't explained rationally speaking, why did you want children? Yes, you're capable of taking care of these children moderately, and you yourself said that there were a couple of other things you wanted to do with your life. You wanted to travel the world, or at least go to a couple of countries and so on, but you can't do that now with these children, of course, and so on and so forth. Okay, in general, the average mother figure or even father figure doesn't even come close to being capable of taking care of a child. We're talking about actually taking care of a child without too much detriment to his or her own life. And what's going to happen, especially if it's a woman, the majority of women will start to get agitated because they can't handle harsh reality, because you're actually probing into truth there. And the truth and the fact of the matter is that they can't logically and rationally explain what the reason is for them wanting children. Okay, they're just going to tell you just wanted children, but that's no answer. You just wanted children. Okay, I just want to cross the road, but if I just want to cross the road like that on impulse, I'm going to get run over. Makes no sense, of course. But the majority of women, and like I said, the third world is a shining beacon of an example. It's like the population never ends. It's like these people come crawling out of the woodwork with their offspring, and it just never ends, just goes on and on and on. It's like a bottomless supply of what are supposed to be human beings. And it's just, I don't know what to say. It's just, to someone like me, it's offensive. Someone as well developed as me, even if I say so myself, the very thought of breeding like a parasite is just offensive. But that's why I call these people parasites again. Okay, they have a life cycle: eat, sleep, breathe, shit, die. I don't want to be mean or swear, but it's eat, sleep, breathe, defecate, die. That's a pathetic life cycle. Majority of women out there just want to pop out children or push out children and then drop dead at the end of their lives. I mean, what kind of life is that? I mean, if you have seriously thought it over, you've thought about it, and you've thought to yourself, you know what, you can seriously get this done, and you love children, so the benefits outweigh the drawback, it's worth all the trouble, and you're capable and you're competent, then sure, no problem. But for most people, that's not the case. They're not capable or competent, at the very least partially. I mean, they're at the most partially capable and or competent. But the second you still ask these kind of questions, you'll get angry replies or agitated replies, as in, what are you trying to say? These people feel genuinely attacked, and rightfully so. They feel attacked because them conceiving children, them having children, them producing offspring is not based on rational thought. It's not based on logic along the lines of, can I provide for my child in every aspect, or at the very least in most aspects. But no, they just breed like the vermin that they are, and it just goes on and on and on. Again, I'm not saying that you have to have everything figured out from A to Z, but you need to seriously think about stuff like this. You need to think about the basics, at least the basics. But the majority of people simply it seems that they're incapable of doing so, or they simply don't want to think, and they give way to impulse. But then again, that's anything but the only time when they give way to impulse. They give way to impulse when it comes to general matters too, okay? As in general life matters, or pertaining to everyday as well as long-term life affairs. If you take a good look at the world too, you'll see that in developed countries, for example, European countries or countries that were settled by Europeans, aren't like that. The population density, we're talking about the native population density, stays the same. It's either constant, so basically every person in Europe has at least one child, or has at most one or two children, or it starts to decline even, because the majority of people are like me. They don't want children for the same reasons I mentioned, plain and simple, because I don't like children. But aside from that, even if I did like children, I don't think I'd have them, because it's simply not worth the trouble. It's not worth all the effort and everything. You have to weigh everything over. As long as the pros outweigh the cons, sure, no problem. But no, I'm definitely not going to saddle myself up with a wife or a girlfriend and have children with her. I mean, I am more than competent and capable based on who I am and everything. I can easily take care of 3, 4 children even, you name it. And even then, it would barely impact my financial life or any other aspect of my life too much. But no, I don't want to, because it's still going to be a burden. Nevertheless, it's like having cattle, so to speak. Okay, it's just a metaphorical example. It's like having 3 or 4 cows that you need to take care of. I need to wake up in the morning, I need to give these cows either grain or whatever the hell cows eat. I need to make them graze. I need to take these cows outside, I need to milk them. Everything is such an unnecessary burden. And it's just not necessary for me. I mean, the personal aspect also plays a part, because it doesn't fulfill me with it doesn't give me any sense of fulfillment or joy. But even if it did, I would still think long and hard about the decision, as in, it's a really a good idea. Do I really want children? We're talking about 25 to 30 years, so I'll only be child free again, and my children are out of the house when I am in my 50s or 60s. To me, it's like throwing my entire life away, or even the best years of my life away, the prime of my life, throwing everything away. And it's not worth it, to say the least. It's really not worth it from a neutral as well as a personal point of view or perspective. So yeah, absolutely not. Again, I don't have an issue with people having children. I'm not saying that everyone has to be like me. Quite the opposite. If everyone was like me, then the world would die out, the world's population. But all I'm saying is that regardless of what decision you make, and that includes the decision to produce offspring and to have children, it needs to be based on rational thought. Just go evaluate your own life and yourself, and ask yourself whether you're mentally, physically, and socially competent, okay, in every aspect of the word, to be able to take care of a child. But I mean, if you just act like a parasite, and you just have 3 or 4 children, and then you have the audacity to complain that there are so many things you wanted to do with your life, but there's nothing you can do, because of the children. You need to take care of this, you need to take care of that. Then I'm not going to pity you. I'm openly going to tell you to get lost, get bent, or bluntly put, to go fuck yourself, because you're the one that had these children. No one asked you for them. These children didn't come up to your door and beg you to take care of them like foster children. No, you had these children. It's not like, if you're a woman, it's not like you carried all of those children for 9 months. It's not like the child just slipped out of you, as in, oh my god, I didn't even know I was pregnant. No. You carried that child for 9 months, okay, close to a year. So yeah, it's safe to say that it's your own fault if you have regrets, if you have any regrets, okay. If you change your mind at some point, and we're talking about 10 years down the road, when your child is 10 years old, then that's a different matter. It's not black and white, but it's still your own problem, your own fault, okay. You should realize that your decision is set in stone once you make the decision to have children. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to close off with the pathetic excuses that people give you. Okay, you're selfish. This is the case globally. Okay, regardless of where you live, you're selfish if you don't want children. That's a good one. That's a pathetic. I have no idea where that saying came from, but I can only conclude that it's based on some kind of delusion that the person that's accusing you of being selfish for not wanting children has. And that person is basically telling you, or insinuating at least, that it's your duty as a citizen or as a human being to reproduce. I have no idea where they got that bullshit from. I have no idea where they got that from. And honestly, I'm not even gonna bother. But yeah, that's just the idea just makes me laugh. Okay, it comes down for me it comes down, not just for me, in general, Fact of the matter is that in general it comes down to a personal choice. It literally comes down to just that, one's personal decision and or personal choice or choices. If you want to have children, enjoy. If you don't want to have them, don't have them. But okay, don't act like a parasite and just have children and either not take care of your children or be unable to take care of your children because you can't even take care of yourself. It just goes on and on and on. Okay. Other excuses I've also heard that have been thrown at you are that I was one people have things that people have told me. I was once also a child, so therefore I should reproduce. Makes no sense again whatsoever. So because I was once a child, that automatically means that I'm supposed to have children. That makes literally and figuratively speaking no sense. Not that I expected it to make sense, based on the person that it came from. I was like, hey, you're just talking out of your ass. So yeah, there is no valid reason, okay, or better said, excuse that you can give to justify having children. Okay, even if your family counts or depends on you for having children, that makes no sense again, because it's your life, it's your body. If you're a woman, but even if you're a guy, it's your life, your decision. End of story. Your family can decide, make that decision for you. If your grandparents want grandchildren, then let them have another child and let that child foster the grandchildren for them, or let them adopt grandchildren for themselves, or do whatever the hell they want to do. But you're under no duty or obligation or anything like that, not towards your family or towards anyone or anything in any way, shape or form, to have children. It all comes down to your own personal life. If your family doesn't want to respect your decision in the example that I gave, then yeah, tough luck for them. And honestly, if you've got a family like that, then I personally would distance myself from them. Okay, because I don't need family members like that. I don't need people that actually want to control part of my life or dictate part of my life. No, that's absolutely offensive in every sense of the word. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you've got any thoughts relating this subject or topic, let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.